It's been 2 years since the last U.S. troops left Afghanistan and the Taliban took control. This morning, we spoke with a human rights advocate who stressed just how dire the situation's become there for the remaining Afghan citizens.
Since then, the Taliban has become the world's worst government in terms of targeting civilians domestically. For women and girls, the Taliban has continued a campaign to exclude women and girls from all aspects of society. It amounts to what the UN called the worst situation for women and girls globally and akin to gender apartheid. And unsurprisingly, the Taliban have relentlessly targeted former government officials and members of the security forces that worked alongside the Americans for extrajudicial killings, beatings, torture, and a host of horrific human rights abuses.
In the chaos of the Taliban takeover, over 82,000 people were evacuated. Of those, the overwhelming majority, about 70,000 Afghan refugees, have been granted the temporary status known as humanitarian parole. Now, that only lasts for 2 years. It provides no path to citizenship. And with that program expiring, those Afghans are left with just a few options. One option is the Afghan Special Immigrant Visa. That program was created for Afghans who assisted U.S. troops. It's supposed to protect them and their families from retribution for being aligned with the U.S. But that process takes years. It requires recommendation letters, health exams. There's a waiting period. And if the person is still in Afghanistan, they have to first reach a neutral third country to try and meet with U.S. consular staff. But even in addition to these hurdles, there's a major backlog program. Take a look at this. Even before the U.S. withdrawal, there was a backlog. According to the most recent State Department report, about 154,000 principal applicants were still in the process pipeline. That number doesn't even include family members. And get this, only about 23,000 principal visas have been issued since 2009. But most concerning, an estimated 152,000 SIV applicants are still in Afghanistan, many of whom struggle to get internet access, obtain passports, or even leave the country. And those are all required steps to stay in the SIV pipeline. Meanwhile, their relationship with the U.S., their history of helping our troops has put a target on their backs. There are other programs that Afghan citizens can apply to for U.S. visas, but they remain equally backlogged and also have very limited spots. Congress allowed the humanitarian parole program to be extended for 2 more years, but Afghan refugees need to know to apply for the extension.